I would love to do a Pushpa, but people have not come to me with a Pushpa, for example. I look at my vulnerability as one of my greatest strengths because I think it takes courage to be a person who can look you in the eye and tell you, this is what I fear, this is what I feel. Sanjay Sir, in his vision and his understanding of women, the layers that he brings into the thought of a girl in that time, in the position that she's in, he doesn't make her just a sort of cardboard cutout. There's a lot of layer that he delves into. I know that period dramas just like come into my life somehow or the other, but I don't know what it is and why I love them so much. 100% it's also me and my love for these epic love stories. A heroine is not a heroine for the time that she spends on camera. A heroine is a heroine for the life that she lives, and the way that she impacts people who watch her and for her choices that she makes, etc.
Hi guys, this is Himesh and welcome to Pinkvilla. Today we have with us Aditi Rao Hydari. Welcome to Pinkvilla, Aditi. It's lovely having you here.
Thank you.
And my first question to you is, Taj has always been known as symbol of love, but this one seems to be a lot more. Could you tell us something about this series as to what can we expect? What are the dynamics of characters over here?
So I think this show, of course, it does delve into the whole love aspect of it because that is a very important aspect of the story. But I think mainly it's about power dynamics, it's about succession, it's about love, betrayal, politics. I think it's about all of that. So it's more a drama, I would say. This whole thing that happened so many years ago. So it's a historical. It's actually kind of like a story about a family.
Okay.
And what all happens in a family, just amplified.
Yeah. Correct. So drama, basically a drama.
Yeah.
So what got you on board? Like, what was that factor in the script that got you on board?
Honestly, Anarkali is almost too iconic a character. Everybody knows Anarkali, and there has been like poetry and so much talk about her beauty and her grace and just the fact that she basically caused a lot of trouble without meaning to in this whole story and in this whole succession to the throne, etc., etc. So in a way it is quite intimidating, to take on a character like that. But I think what really convinced me was a meeting with the director Ron and the writers William and Simon. I think I was just so taken in by their vision and by their retelling of this part of history that I was quite like, I was almost, there was a fear in me, but there was also this excitement that, oh my God, if I have to do it, then maybe I can do it like this, and it can be uniquely, it can be unique, it can be different, and it can be our version of it and my version of it without thinking about anything else. Because if I had constantly thought about Mughal-e-Azam, I think I would not have been able to do like work. So I just took it on as another story and as another retelling of this whole drama. Yeah.
But what was your prep like for this? Because like you said, it's an iconic character. So what was your prep like too?
I think my prep mainly stemmed from various sessions with Ron and the writers. So in that way, I found it really amazing because they were so collaborative and so inclusive. And they really sat with me and they chatted with me a lot because Anarkali, sure, she's an epic character as we know her. But in her time and in her story, she's just a young girl going through whatever she's going through, So I think they took into consideration a lot of that, and so they let me speak, they let me talk, they let me say what was on my mind. And I think it was a culmination of all of that. And I think I literally approached it like that. I just listened to what they said, they listened to me, and we worked at it together.
But is there anything about the character that surprised you the most while you were, in the process of discovering it?
I think I don't want to say just now because I think when the show comes out, I think it's best left to the audience to discover that themselves. But for me, obviously as an actor, I'll tell you, like on set, whatever it is, when we read a script or we discuss it with the director, there are many things that happen. But when you come to set, and then when you have your co-star in front of you, and I had for most part of it Nasir sir and Ashim, things change, you know, because we are also responding to actors. But you know, Nasir sir is
True.
A legendary actor. So how he's interpreting Akbar will also determine how I respond to him, you know, as Anarkali, and so with Salim. So I think whatever prep you do when you come on set, I think it's really important to just be a sponge and to listen to the person in front of you and to respond to them. So I don't know any great tricks. This is what I did, and I hope it's worked.
Correct. And you know, you spoke of Nasir Saab. There's also Dharamji in the series. You interacted with him. You had scenes with him. How was that like?
Again, I don't want to tell you. It's too early to say. But
off the screen, maybe. Yeah. If you had.
I mean, a little bit, but not very much.
Yeah.
Because of the way that my story is. So not too much, but yeah, it's always, whenever I've met him, he's just so sweet and loving and warm.
What is it in the period dramas that attracts you the most?
I really don't know. Maybe it's my own, I mean, like I know that period dramas just like come into my life somehow or the other, but I don't know what it is and why I love them so much. 100% it's also me and my love for, you know, these epic love stories or period love stories or anything to do with history. It always sort of makes me more excited by whatever it is that we're doing. Even like regular, sometimes I hear something and I'm like, is this period? Can we set it in period? So I think I just enjoy it because there's something about history, right? It's so exciting, and about lives that have been lived, experiences that have actually happened. I don't know, it's something magical about it. I'm not sure what it is, but I'm happy I get to do a lot of these
historic characters.
I really enjoy it. It could be my own family and the fact that I've heard so many stories, you know, of my great grandfathers and whoever, whatever, all kinds of stories. I don't know, it could be
anything.
Yeah.
Is there any particular character from the history that is there in your bucket list that you want to play?
This kind of was one.
Yeah.
But I never thought that it would be attempted, you know, or that I would ever get a chance to play it. Maharani Gayatri Devi. So many people, I don't know, the lives of actually certain actresses which have been really interesting and very exciting.
And you have been a Sanjay Leela Bhansali heroine too, and you know that character in Padmaavat won so much appreciation for the grace with which you played it. How do you define that present representation of women in a Sanjay Leela Bhansali film? Like that, again, it's a period film, and since you played it with so much grace, what was your approach back in the day?
I really think, you know, a lot of it stems also from Sanjay sir and his, I would say, no, I wouldn't even say a lot of it, I would say all of it actually stems from Sanjay sir and his vision and his understanding of women. You know, the layers that he brings into the thought of a girl in that time, in the position that she's in. He doesn't make her just a sort of cardboard cutout. There's a lot of layer that he delves into. Maybe it's not spoken of on like as a dialogue, but there's so much subtext that he gives you when he talks to you as an actor, or when he, you know, he's talking about the character, etc. And I think a lot of like characters that turn out well, we talk about heroines, but heroines are also people. You know, they are not just pretty cardboard cutouts. It's not only about, you know, how they look or whatever. There's so much heart and soul that goes into creating that character, and I think it's really about directors who want to bring that out in their heroines and in the women that they write for screen. So I would give all the credit to the director, actually. Even Mehrunisa, for thinking of a part like that, for creating her, and for, you know, pushing an actor into creating a very wholesome girl.
Yeah. So is that something you look for when you are selecting a script? Like
100%, because like I feel like in Padmaavat, of the four principals, mine was actually the smallest in terms of screen time, but it was so fulfilling for me to do. And I feel like, a heroine is not a heroine for the time that she spends on camera. A heroine is a heroine for the life that she lives, and the way that she impacts people who watch her, and for her choices that she makes, etc. So I always try my best to be instinctive about what I'm picking, and to see that the girl that I'm going to play is a wholesome creature. She has to have heart and soul and courage and agency and a mind of her own. And like so many times it's almost like a gun has been pointed at me, and you're like, you are always vulnerable in your films. So I'm like, that of course, like maybe that's very much a part of my nature, but I look at my vulnerability as one of my greatest strengths, because I think it takes courage to be a person who can look you in the eye and tell you, this is what I fear, this is what I feel, this is it takes a lot of courage to do that. And I think a lot of my characters are characters like that, who are unafraid to show their vulnerability. And I do look for that when I play parts, that they should be a nice
layered, basically.
I really enjoy that.
But is that one of the reasons why you are selective about the kind of films, especially over here in Hindi? You are doing very few selective films. So what's the reason for that?
I think that's not by choice so much, in terms of like, why do I not pick so many different kinds of films, is not always by choice. So the thing is, a certain kind of cinema comes to me, which I said, like the layered, vulnerable, some quite often period or whatever. Or when a lot of people say heroine oriented, especially in the South, what I've done. But I don't look at stories like that. I think stories are about being true to the story you're telling. I would love to do a Pushpa, but people have not come to me with a Pushpa, for example. I'm just saying, like, fun commercial films where you're just dancing, having fun, whatever. Those are also fun, and that also takes skill as an actor to do. And I would love to once in a while do something like that, but I get more of this, and in a way I'm happy I get more of this, because there's so much content to bite into. There's so much to explore, there's so much to learn, in many ways, and a lot of like incredible directors. I've managed to work with a lot of people who have been on my wish list, and to repeatedly work with them for me is one of the biggest like hands on my head. So.
And how is it to dabble? So, you were dabbling industries, South and Hindi. And now there's platforms also. There's theatrical, OTT. How is it to dabble between all these things? Again,
I don't look at it as, it's actually through the lockdown that I realized that there's actually, why do we make this difference? One of my films, one of my Malayalam films, ended up releasing on an OTT platform, and I was at first really sad, because I was like, no, this is supposed to be for a theatre, and I was so upset. And then I saw the kind of love it got, and the kind of reels that got made on all the songs, and it went like completely ballistic. And it was just, that acceptance was huge, and it showed me the power of the medium. And also, the audiences are the same. It's basically, what is it? As actors, we want the love of the people, and we work. I mean, I always feel it's to win them over, to take them into your world, into your, into what you're creating, to tell them a story, and for them to love you and take you home with them. Whether we do that in a theatre or, through a show or what does it matter? Is what I feel now. And today, like, I like to mix it up. So there are certain things I feel possibly should be for the theatre. And there are certain things I feel that should actually be, in the intimacy of your home or whatever. So it really depends on what story you're telling and where it
comes to.
Ideally should go. We are actors, and I work for the love of the people who watch me, and for those the experiences I get on set, of course. But ultimately it's for fan love.
And what next for you after Taj?
There's Jubilee, which has been announced with Vikramaditya Motwani. It's another show that I'm so looking forward to. I had actually decided, because I was doing back-to-back films, especially in the South. I was like, okay, I'll do one show. And now it's ended up back-to-back, multiple. But Jubilee is again period, but super interesting. And I loved working with Vikram sir and his team. It was just incredible. And he's also Sanjay sir is his mentor.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like very interesting to work with both.
Yeah. And you're doing something with Sanjay sir again. There's so much talk, so yeah, no comments. Okay.
Not yet.
Okay. And before we sign off, any last words on Taj, like for your fans as to what they can expect? And
I hope that they connect to it, and I hope that they like it, and I hope I have watched these epic dramas, on various platforms, and the way that you get into it, and you're waiting for the next episode, and you just can't stop watching, and you're binge watching it, and I hope that it has that kind of impact on people, and I hope that people like it. It's also a part of history, and it's made by a really interesting and very diverse bunch of people. So I think that in itself gives it a kind of, for me, it was like that. And I hope that the audiences also feel the same way.
Perfect. Thank you so much. It
Thank
was lovely
you.
speaking to you, and wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, this is Aditi Rao Hydari, and you're watching me on Pinkvilla.